For 10 years, I treated every single carbohydrate like it was slowly killing me. I went deep into keto, cut everything out, and watched every gram like a hawk. But here is the honest truth that nobody in the fitness world openly admits to you. Not all carbohydrates are the same, and I was avoiding every single wrong one completely. The day I realized that, everything about how I eat and perform completely changed forever. Today I am sharing 9 carbohydrates I now eat every day without guilt or hesitation. These are foods I would never have touched 7, 8, or even 9 years ago. But after years of real research, testing, and listening to my own body, everything shifted. This is not a generic healthy eating list pulled from some random wellness blog online. Every single carbohydrate on this list had to earn its place through actual real results. Some are backed by science that completely changed the way I think about nutrition forever. Others just made me feel so undeniably good that I simply could not argue back. So let us get straight into it, starting with the one I eat most often. The first carbohydrate is blueberries. And this goes much deeper than just simple fiber content. I am not talking about those giant watery blueberries sitting in plastic grocery store shells. I eat wild blueberries, the small, dense, deeply pigmented ones that actually taste completely real. The sugar content in wild blueberries is significantly lower than regular store-bought cultivated varieties. But the real reason I eat them has almost nothing to do with carbohydrates alone. Every time I eat a solid handful, I notice sharp mental clarity within the hour. Other carbohydrates with similar sugar content do not give me that same cognitive sharpness effect. What is actually happening is anthocyanins are crossing the blood-brain barrier and affecting your brain directly. The research on this is not thin or speculative at all. It is genuinely robust. Beyond the brain, my gut genuinely feels better on every day I eat blueberries consistently. Polyphenols feed your gut bacteria directly, functioning almost like a very special and unique fiber source. Eating blueberries fuels your brain, feeds your gut bacteria, and delivers real antioxidant protection simultaneously. I eat them midday with cottage cheese on every day I need real peak mental output. The second carbohydrate will probably surprise you. And yes, I am absolutely talking about watermelon. Your first instinct is probably to say watermelon is too sugary and way too high glycemic. But glycemic index alone is one of the most deeply misleading metrics in all nutrition today. The glycemic load of watermelon per realistic serving is actually remarkably and surprisingly low overall. You are eating mostly water with only a small amount of natural sugar scattered throughout. Your body handles that combination very differently than most people would ever actually expect it to. I eat watermelon specifically during training on longer and more demanding afternoon training sessions consistently. It gives me fast-absorbing carbohydrates without heavy solid food sitting uncomfortably in my stomach. But there is another layer that most fitness people completely overlook when planning their intra-workout nutrition. Watermelon is hydrating at a level that goes well beyond simply drinking plain water alone. The carbohydrates in watermelon actually help your body hold and retain fluid far more effectively. Glycogen stores water alongside carbohydrates, meaning watermelon actively keeps your cells properly hydrated during training. So, I am not just fueling my workout. I am managing cellular hydration at the same time. And honestly, watermelon in the middle of a hard session always tastes exactly like I want. Carbohydrate 3 took me longer to return to than almost anything else on this entire list. And that carbohydrate is sweet potatoes, specifically the purple variety for a very real research-backed reason. When I was deep in keto, sweet potatoes felt completely and absolutely off limits to me entirely. Too starchy, too many carbs, too much risk for someone seriously chasing real fat loss results. About 5 years ago, I started carb cycling and reintroduced sweet potatoes back into my life carefully. That was when I started researching the actual nutritional differences between all the varieties available today. What I found genuinely surprised me because the difference between orange and purple is not small. The Okinawan sweet potato has a deep purple interior and an extraordinary and remarkable antioxidant profile. We are talking about anthocyanins and chlorogenic acid at levels orange sweet potatoes simply cannot match. The darker and deeper the flesh color, the higher the concentration of genuinely powerful beneficial compounds. Stokes purple sweet potatoes, purple inside and outside, carry that exact same high antioxidant category profile. If you can only find orange ones, always choose red garnet for the deepest color available. My gut responds to sweet potatoes better than it responds to almost any other carbohydrate source. Number 4 is the one that made me completely rethink everything I once believed about potatoes. For most of my life, potatoes were placed directly into the category of bad carbohydrates automatically. But red potatoes completely changed my perspective the moment I actually started looking at them differently. They are one of the most controllable carbohydrate sources you can possibly eat for performance goals. When I want fast carbohydrates after a hard training session, I eat a red potato hot. That gives me a quick glucose spike going directly toward replenishing my completely depleted muscle glycogen. This is carb backloading done with a whole natural food instead of an expensive sports supplement. But here is the genuinely fascinating part that most people have simply never heard about before. If you cook a red potato and let it cool completely in the refrigerator, everything changes. The cooling process converts digestible starch into something called resistant starch. And that changes absolutely everything. Resistant starch cannot be broken down by your digestive enzymes and passes through your body undigested completely. Instead of spiking your blood sugar, it travels to the large intestine and feeds your gut bacteria. The same food that spikes glucose when hot becomes gut-feeding fuel when it is eaten cold. I keep cooked and cooled red potatoes in my fridge as a daily gut health tool. Number 5 is the one that will create the most debate, and I fully expected that reaction. Raw milk. Yes, I said it. And I am absolutely not softening or walking that back. I know it is controversial, and I know you simply cannot get it everywhere easily. But the research I kept encountering around its immunological benefits became completely too compelling to ignore. Raw milk contains naturally occurring enzymes and beneficial bacteria that pasteurization completely destroys during processing. From a carbohydrate standpoint, raw milk contains lactose, which is milk sugar, placing it firmly here. I would never have touched it during strict keto because it simply does not fit that framework. But in a carb cycling approach, being strategic about timing and type of carbohydrates makes raw milk work. I feel genuinely better when I drink it consistently, better than with almost any other carb source. The immunological research alone was enough to make me take it very seriously as a real food. And the way my body responds to it every single time keeps me choosing it again. Number 6 is the one that shocked me most from a purely scientific standpoint. And that is honey. Before you say it is just sugar, I need you to hear me completely out first. For years, I avoided honey exactly the same way I avoided every other sweetener entirely. But then I found research on a very specific type of sugar found naturally in honey. It is called Trehalose, and when I first came across that study, it completely stopped me cold. Subjects consuming 10 grams daily of Trehalose actually saw their fasting blood glucose levels genuinely drop. That is the complete and total opposite of what regular sugar normally does to your blood sugar. Trehalose binds to a specific gut transporter and actually blocks the absorption of other carbohydrates consumed alongside it. So not only is honey not just sugar, it actually partially offsets the overall carbohydrate load. I use 1 to 2 tablespoons strategically before afternoon training sessions when carbohydrates are part of my plan. That gives me a real metabolic advantage that plain sugar simply cannot and does not offer. Number 7 is one I came back to for deeply personal and genuinely emotional reasons entirely. I am Italian. Pasta was not just food in my house growing up, it was my identity. When I went keto, giving up pasta was honestly one of the absolute hardest things I did. So when I started carb cycling, lentil and chickpea pasta were among the very first things reintroduced. They gave me something emotionally and texturally familiar while being dramatically different from a metabolic standpoint. Lower glycemic, higher fiber, more protein, and a gut response that felt dramatically better than wheat pasta. Over time, I stopped needing the pasta format and started eating lentils and chickpeas as whole foods. Now I eat hummus regularly, something I never would have touched at all during my keto years. A large portion of what you consume when eating a chickpea is essentially indigestible fiber material. That indigestible fiber is exactly what your gut bacteria thrive on and genuinely need every single day. The red pigment in red lentils comes from polyphenols, delivering real and meaningful antioxidant activity to your body. Most people assume antioxidants only come from bright fruits, but lentils compete strongly in that same category. Number 8 is a carbohydrate almost nobody talks about, and I believe it is deeply and truly underrated. Butternut squash. I know it sounds completely boring, but give me 60 seconds to change your mind. Most people tired of sweet potatoes never even think to replace them with butternut squash at all. If you puree butternut squash with a little parsnip, the result genuinely tastes close to mashed potatoes. But the starch concentration in butternut squash is roughly half of what a comparable sweet potato contains. That means lower glycemic load, lower glycemic index, and a much gentler and softer impact on blood sugar. The fiber content is exceptional, and because it holds a lot of water, it fills you up completely. You also get polyphenols from butternut squash that you simply cannot get from most other carbohydrate sources. If sweet potato fatigue is real in your life, and it absolutely has been in mine, this is your answer. It is versatile, satisfying, genuinely delicious when prepared well, and metabolically it behaves in a way I trust. The 9th and final carbohydrate is one I have actually been using for years for a different reason entirely. Beets. And if you thought I was wrapping this up with bread or rice, I hope this surprises you. Beets contain a very specific antioxidant called betalain, which is particularly powerful for real cardiovascular protection. Taking care of my cardiovascular system through what I eat every day is something I think about seriously. But the reason I originally started using beets was specifically about improving blood flow and exercise performance. Beets are one of the most well-researched natural sources of dietary nitrates available to us right now. Nitrates convert in your body into nitric oxide, which dilates your blood vessels and significantly improves circulation. That means better oxygen delivery to your working muscles and measurably improved endurance performance in a documented way. I have been drinking small amounts of beet juice before endurance sessions for many years consistently now. The effect lasts for hours, not just during the workout itself, extending well beyond that training window. So beets are not just a carbohydrate on this list, they are a genuine functional food entirely. So there you have it. 9 carbohydrates I spent years avoiding and now eat with complete intention. Blueberries for my brain and gut on every day. I need real sharp mental output from myself. Watermelon for deep hydration and fast training fuel during my most intense and demanding sessions consistently. Purple sweet potatoes for extraordinary antioxidants and reliable glycemic control built into every single week of eating. Red potatoes for post-workout glycogen replenishment hot, and powerful resistant starch gut fuel when eaten cold. Raw milk for its immunological properties, and the genuinely undeniable way it makes my entire body feel. Honey for its trehalose content, and its remarkable and surprising ability to actually moderate blood sugar response. Lentils and chickpeas for fiber that is second to none, and antioxidants nobody would ever expect from legumes. Butternut squash as the deeply underrated sweet potato alternative that deserves far more attention than it currently receives. And beets for cardiovascular protection, the nitric oxide pathway, and years of real personal endurance performance benefits. The carbohydrates you choose matter enormously, and choosing them with real intention separates good nutrition from great nutrition. I still do not eat a large amount of carbohydrates, but every single one I eat works hard. Every carb on my plate has genuinely earned its place, and that mindset will change everything for you.